If you don't know where to begin, better ask when.
Shane, good to see you. We are talking 6 moments to move your money. There are times when moving your money isn't just a good idea, it is necessary. Figuring out when can help you protect your investments, reduce your taxes, and stay aligned with your long-term goals. So first, we have Roth conversions. When does it make sense to move money from a traditional to a Roth IRA?
Well, it makes sense when we have taxes that are working in our favor. And right now, we
Okay.
do actually have a window of opportunity where the 2017 tax cuts are still in effect, and we can use those to our advantage to start moving money towards Roth. These really are historically low tax rates that we believe in the next so many years will eventually go up. They may be extended for some period of time, but we're pretty confident that over the next 10 plus years, taxes in this country have nowhere to go but up. So if we can use those to our advantage now, that could be huge.
Mm-hmm. Yes, taxes are set to increase 2026 if nothing happens right now.
If
Good point.
nothing's changed, that's when they're
Right.
going up, right?
A big milestone for retirement accounts is 59 and a half. What is the significance of that age and what is an in-service distribution?
Well, at 59 and a half, you're now able to move money out of your 401k. So you can do what's called an in-service distribution or in-service rollover more commonly, where we'll roll the money out of the 401k and put it somewhere else, typically a traditional IRA, that'll give you much greater options, access to kind of the whole universe of investment tools, allows you to leave the relatively limited pool of options that you probably have inside of your 401k. And it's usually a good idea to do that when you're 59 and a half.
Okay. And now let's talk about leaving a job. What should we be doing with our old 401ks?
Well, just like we talked about before, 59 and a half is a restriction for a current 401k. But if you leave a company, you're no longer in service with them. Even if you're pre 59 and a half, you can do a rollover of that account to an IRA, just like we talked about before. So you want to get that money out of that old employer's 401k, put it somewhere where you're more in control of it. And again, give you access to the whole universe of investment tools. So you're not locked into the rules of this 401k from a company you don't even work for anymore.
Mhm. Another sign it might be time to make a move, high fees. How can someone figure out if they're paying too much?
Well, you typically would want to just call the investment company directly and say, what kind of fees am I paying? We see a lot of times people don't know how many fees they're
Yeah.
paying. Variable annuities sometimes have a lot of fees that people are not aware of. There's mortality and expense fees, there's fund fees and other investment fees. You want to add those all up. And if you're not aware of that, or you believe those fees are not worth it, they're not giving you the return that you would hope for, it could be time to seek another fee structure, maybe something that uses more of a wrap fee or a flat fee with no commission, something that's fee based rather than based on a bunch of individual different expenses all added up.
Okay. And at what point should someone consider moving their money if their investments are underperforming?
Well, you want to just see how much risk you're taking, and that should be a sort of a rough guide as to how much return you should be getting back. But if you think you're still invested fairly aggressively and not getting the return, it's possible those allocations could have gone a little bit stale. That happens over time. And so if that's
Mm-hmm.
something you think may be happening, that might be a good idea to get a second opinion, see if there's another way out there to invest those dollars to get more growth for the same amount of risk, or maybe even the same or better growth for even less risk. That would be ultimately optimal. There's great ways to do that out there and hopefully find better investment options for yourself.
Okay. And then last, what if someone's time horizon has changed? Maybe they're retiring sooner than expected. How should their investment approach shift?
Well, in most cases, if we see someone's time horizon kind of narrow, typically that indicates they're also going to become a little bit more conservative with their investments. Maybe they're entering that retirement red zone earlier than they were expecting. That's the 5 years before, the 5 years after retirement. If you're in that period of time, you don't necessarily have time to recover from dips in the market, and it starts to become a lot more about keeping what you have rather than trying to grow and grow and grow and gain more. So usually folks will become a lot more conservative, but you want to make sure you address those things and make changes in your portfolio, because if you're in that tight time horizon and there's a dip, you're not going to probably have time to recover from that. That could really affect your retirement at that point.
Yeah, good point. I'm glad we get to talk this through because sometimes, conventional wisdom is don't touch your money, leave it alone. But there are some moments where strategically it makes sense to move it.
There
So
are definitely.
even if somebody wants a second opinion, like you mentioned, Shane, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Well, the best way to reach us is online. Our website is winstonandcompanies.com, or you can call us here at the office, 602-456-1928.
All right. Shane, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Erin.
Got a plan for your retirement, 'cause you know it's just down the road. But if you don't know where to begin, better ask when.